Time to catch up with Dr. Tim McKnight from Trinity Hospital, Twin City. It's Talk to the Doc on a Tuesday, and it's always a good topic. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. This is an exciting day because today is the first day of school, basically.
It's the first day of school for me, yeah.
Yeah, it's our fall session of Fit for Life. Class begins tonight, and this will go for
12 weeks.
12 weeks. And each week there will be a different topic. You're going to learn things about yourself that you didn't realize that you were doing that maybe were not so good for you, and how you can change those habits and turn things around and feel good about yourself. I love it.
Yeah, we're going to provide information, but hopefully more than information, it'll be motivation to help people find that drive to change behaviors and become healthier.
Without a doubt, each class, it seems like you're sitting about 50 people, and those folks go out of there after the course is over and really have a different attitude toward the way they eat, the way they approach life in general, and to try to make sure that they feel better. And that's the whole purpose of this course.
Yeah, I've attended many medical conferences and other conferences where I've walked out very motivated, inspired, and I always take notes as to what it was that touched me or moved me. Mm-hmm. And over the years, I've kind of developed a strategy that I think has helped make this. I've incorporated into this program. I think it's made it successful. It's given the feelings to people that I want them to have. Because again, it's not just enough to learn something. I want them to feel something. And
that's the whole point about the course itself. You're not going to feel like you're sitting in a classroom for an hour and a half, listening to the teacher just go on and on and on. I mean, you're explaining things. You've got slide shows. You've got guest speakers over the 12 weeks.
Right.
And where do we begin? How are you starting?
Well, tonight we just lay the groundwork, and we basically help people understand that we're sort of all immersed in this sea of disease, whether it's physical disease or mental disease or just emotional disease or relationships. There's a lot of toxicity in our life, and we don't realize that we're immersed in this. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to lay the groundwork and show people that there is an epidemic of chronic disease. And it shouldn't be that way. And we just assume when we go to a funeral that, yes, people are going to die from heart disease, but I don't think that's true. I don't think that we should be dying from heart disease. And cancer rates are much higher than they should be. So I want to just kind of present some information it's kind of a shock and awe. So I want to just kind of present some information it's kind of a shock and awe evening where we're just going to lay the groundwork and show people that these trends are getting worse,
right, and
we need to take a look at this and figure out how to change it.
You mentioned heart disease, definitely preventable if you exercise, take care of yourself, eat the right things. Physically, you can help that. Cancer, sometimes it's kind of frightening because the environment can have a factor in different areas that you may live. Whether it's an industrial or that type of atmosphere, which is kind of scary because you don't know what you're being exposed to.
That's right. And when you feel helpless, you feel a victim, and you're not empowered, you're disempowered. It's a terrible feeling. And that's how many of us feel as we see cancer all around us. And our approach in allopathic medicine is surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. And that still leaves us feeling pretty powerless, and left to the judgment of doctors who, promote this approach. But Louis Pasteur said something really interesting on his deathbed. His whole life he thought it was the cell and the DNA and the nucleus that governed the health of the cell. And on his deathbed he recanted that, and he said, it's the environment. The environment is everything. The cell is nothing. It's the environment. And there's so much evidence for the environment causing all these diseases.
Right.
It's the environment that triggers the changes. It's not our genes. It's the environment. Right. And so we have to be aware of those things in the environment that are contributing to that.
Right. We're talking with Dr. Tim McKnight from Trinity Hospital, Twin City. Talk to the doc on a Tuesday morning. And you get into a different topic each week. Some of the areas you'll talk about medications. You'll talk about exercise, your diet. You even get into to food labels to understand every item you go into the grocery store or purchase has to have that nutrition food label on it.
Right.
And you explain those. You break those down to explain what we need, how you watch, for example, carbs or fat grams, that type of thing. So it's very very educational of things that you just kind of have to step back and reassess and say, wow, I didn't realize that I wasn't really paying attention to those things.
Yeah, the food label class is right at the end of our nutrition section. And that's kind of the application of everything you've learned, because we'll talk about how foods and what is contained in foods that can cause disease and make us sick. And then we'll talk about how foods and supplements and water can help us heal. And then we'll apply that in our everyday eating habits. But then we'll go back and we'll say, okay, now we've learned all this stuff. Now do you understand why hydrogenated fats are bad and how to find that on a food label? And it's really fun to watch people in the class start to have the light bulb go on, like, yeah, we just talked about that. And I realized that that's why my cholesterol is high, and I understand that a little bit better, so I'm going to have to stay away from it. So it's really fun to apply it. And of course, as you remember, we stick a food label in front of you and let you look at it and answer that question. Is this something that's healthy for me or probably not?
Yeah, the thing I like about you as a doctor, you're not just prescribing a pill to get the patient out the door and you're next. You're explaining why this is happening to you, what you should do to change that, and of course maybe it means a vitamin or a supplement to to offset something that you could take that would be prescribed by a pharmacy. So I think that's as important as anything, that we have a lot of control in our hands to help ourselves, and that's, I think, the overall view of Fit for Life is that you're giving us that power.
And that's what our body is looking for. It's looking for good, healthy fuel that can help it heal and regenerate itself. Several years ago, it's probably 10 years ago, the National Vital Statistics Report had healthcare and healthcare-related issues as the third leading cause of death in the United States. And over half of those deaths, over 110,000 deaths that year, were caused by medications. And so there's an abundance of medication overuse. And a recent report in one of the journals I read said that if you're taking any more than 5 prescription medicines, we call that polypharmacy. That's a lot, using a lot of medications.
Right.
And sometimes we have to, but if you're not thinking about the impact of those medications on your nutrition, on your health, on your sleep, on your ability to exercise in your muscles, then you're missing something important. But that goes back to this allopathic approach, which is how I was trained, that says we heal the body with foreign chemicals. I mean, that just doesn't make sense.
Right. There's a lot of things. Our body's an amazing machine. Can do a lot of great things in healing power, and that's where we get into this with Fit for Life. It's an exciting time. I'm really excited for the people that are coming in tonight to start this class, because each week you're going to be more and more into this, and can't wait for the next session, and it's a lot of fun. Again, this fall session is now closed, but it happens again at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, we'll start again in January, and if someone out there is not able to attend this time, just call and get registered on the waiting list for next time, and we'd love to see you.
Fit for Life begins the fall session this evening. We're talking with Dr. Tim McKnight, Trinity Hospital, Twin City. Talk to the doc. We do it on Tuesday mornings. And, of course, Dr. McKnight on staff at Trinity Hospital, Twin City. Appreciate the visit as always, and can't wait to talk about next week and hear how the class did tonight.
Okay. Happy to explain that, tell you about that.
Dr. Tim McKnight joining us this morning here on Big Hits WBTC.